As a business leader, you know how hard it is to delegate tasks to your team members. No one is going to do it better than you, but you can't scale and grow unless you delegate. In this episode of Bootstrappers, you will learn how to delegate and elevate so you can live your best life with our guest, Mat Zalk of Keyrenter. Welcome back to the Bootstrappers podcast that helps businesses scale with remote teams. I'm Gwen Aspen, CEO and co-founder of Anaquim, where we've helped hundreds of businesses grow with remote professionals. Okay, welcome to the Bootstrapper Show, Mat.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So I wanted to have you on because there's this misconception in the industry that you can't grow your business, you can't go into other cities without ruining your life. And you seem to have a pretty good life and grow your business at the same time. So we want to know what your strategies are. I mean, you do, right?
First of all, I've always said that you need capacity to build capacity.
Okay,
and
I like that.
Many people cannot even get out of the weeds of their own business to hire somebody. Because you need the capacity in your day to be able to do the interview process if you still do interviewing in your own company. And at some level you grow and other people do interviewing, whatever else. But the first thing is that you need capacity to build capacity. So if you are intentional about hiring above the curve, and we can answer your question, but if you're intentional about hiring ahead of the curve in advance of the need, you have to do it before you are up to your eyeballs in work, or it just never gets done and you stay up to your eyeballs in work. But I mean, the key that I found is hiring great people. And so, yeah, it's absolutely possible to have a business that grows and have a reasonable lifestyle.
So it just starts with the mindset. Like, you knew going into it, you weren't going to be in the weeds forever when you started this. I mean, think back to when you started your business, you remember those days where It's hard to make money,
I was up at 4:30 or 5 in the morning, reading the Miracle, whatever it's called, the Miracle Morning, I think it is, doing, some journaling, some time on the bike or the treadmill, meditating, getting my business together for the day. And I worked till 7 or 8 or 9 at night. And people called me, the tenants called me, the vendors called me, the owners called me, our team called me. Yeah, it was terrible. But you have to either want to grow or not want to grow. My philosophy is you're either growing or dying, so you might as well grow. And the other part is, you can have a reasonable lifestyle business. You can have, a few hundred doors, and you can do it yourself and make, $20,000-$30,000 a month. It's a great living. And that's where a lot of people want to be. And they perhaps are scared of growth and what HR complications come along the way with growth. And I could talk to all that stuff. But if you have a team of 100 people, you're supporting 100 people and their families.
Yeah.
So do you want to have an impact on the 200 owners that love you or hate you, but presumably the ones that love you, and you're supporting their dream to have financial freedom, and you're supporting their ability to put their kids through college with rent houses and the income that they derive from that, return on investment, and the general, the capitalist cycle that has proven beneficial for many? Or do you want to not? Do you want to be a benefit in your community to the 10 vendors that you really trust and like, or the 100 vendors? I literally got off the phone. So I've got a friend that lives in Ecuador, and he's sending his son to Tulsa to work for the summer. He's studying in Germany, but he wants to come to the United States to work for a little bit, and he has his visa and everything else. Okay, so I'm calling around trying to find him work. I said, come, I'll find him something. I'm trying to find something. So I was speaking to our painter, who just says, I tell my team every day how grateful I am for Keyrenter and Mat Zalk. Well, that is meaningful.
Yeah,
that's really nice to hear.
It really is.
But do you want to do that for 10 people, or do you want to be a benefit to 100 business owners in your community that look at your business and say, these are the people that feed me, these are the people that provide for my family? And it's a two-way street, 100%. We're grateful for John's painting, for Jan Carlson, a wonderful Swedish immigrant who does a ton of our painting with his team. We love him. He does great work at a reasonable price. He's honest, a man of integrity. Love that. But he loves us, and it's a two-way street, and we want to be impactful in our community. So do you want to impact 100 clients or 1,000 clients? Do you want to impact 10 vendors or 100 vendors? Do you want to impact the lives of your tenants positively, giving them a safe, comfortable place to live? Do you want it to be 100 tenants or 1,000 tenants? Do you want it to be in this on and on with your team, and on you go in the community? So maybe some people don't want to grow, but I think the benefits of growth far outweigh the complications and the headache.
I mean,
And
I agree
as you mentioned,
100%. But I think it's just the getting started. Like you're this little company and you barely have enough money to bring home to your family. And then you're like, oh gosh, I got to hire somebody. I mean, that's why remote team members, I'm just saying, that's why remote team members, it helps with that process. But I think when people are small, that they have trouble with that vision. But I love the way that you could just kind of made it black and white. Like you either stay small, don't impact that many people, or you get bigger and you impact more people. You make a choice,
but
and then you
look,
set on your path and you do the thing to get there.
It also depends on what the downside is of failure. I mean, I was born on third base, to be fair. So if I failed, if I was like, this all goes belly up, I'll go live with my parents at, I don't know, 35 years old. It's not great, but like, I don't want to do that. Is it a blow to your ego and is it embarrassing? Yeah. But is it the worst thing in the world? No, I'll have a roof over my head. So if you come from a more modest family and they don't have a room for you or a couch for you and you're going to be homeless, I understand that you'd have trepidations and hesitations about growing and putting it all on the line. Depends where you come from. I would venture to say the vast majority of people that own a property management company are not going to be homeless if the business fails. So taking a little bit, you've already taken risks to start the business. You've already put in $50, $60, $100,000 to start it. I would venture a guess to say the majority are not going to be homeless if it doesn't turn out, and they would go back to a job or they'd start another business or do whatever. So I kind of thought of it as, what's the downside? What is the absolute downside? What's the rock bottom place that I would come to if I decided that I really wanted to grow and I built this team and no clients came? I'd move back in with my family, or I'd go live with my sister. It'd be embarrassing and terrible, and I'd have to start over, and it'd be harder to start over, having wasted a bunch of money on starting a business. But it's not like I would, die.
Right. Well, so, and I do think that honestly, having a miserable public failure is the most liberating thing. Like I ran for office and then lost really badly. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I'm like, what's the worst that could happen? You'll just be embarrassed. And guess what? No one even cares. No one even cares. They even remember. They don't even remember. And so I think we're afraid of failing in front of people that don't love us, don't care about us. And it really doesn't impact anyone else. It's whether you want to live an exciting life or not. And you've decided to live an exciting life. So tell people, you just told me your travel schedule earlier this year. Tell people where you went while you're managing how many branches, like 5 branches or something like that?
4. Yeah.
4, only 4. Yeah, that's amazing. Like people usually can't get out of their hometown because growing in a place where you're not known, where you don't have the reputation, it's super hard to do that. So you have 4 branches and you still went to where this year?
Oh my God. The challenge is that if I admit this publicly, my wife's going to kill me. When was the Keyrenter franchise summit?
It was at the end of January, wasn't it?
Okay. So I was there for a few days to the Caribbean on that silly cruise. I went to my brother-in-law's bachelor party to play golf and party in Scottsdale. I went to Telluride to ski. I went to Costa Rica to chase spinner dolphins with a bunch of my friends from Dubai. I was in Aspen for a bunch of days to ski, but that was with the whole family. I went to El Salvador for my foreign retreat, and I'm sure there's stuff that I'm missing in between. So unfortunately, my wife has to deal with 4 kids on her own when I leave. So all of them are kind of short vacations. They were all planned to be like 6 to 8 days, and my wife calls me basically 3 days through and always says, get home. So from Costa Rica, for example, I was 40 miles offshore, and I hailed a fishing vessel that took me 40 miles back to the nearest town, which, and a Jeep that took me to a dirt strip, and a Cessna Caravan 8-seater that took me to San Jose, where I spent the night in a hostel. And then I flew home the next morning at 7 a.m. Having changed flights a few times.
So you made it happen. You're like, I'm coming home to my family. I'll do whatever it takes. So, okay. So you do that. You have 4 kids. You're good at jujitsu. Clearly you've made it so you have capacity to have fun. So you've done this by building a great team.
I mean, look, shameless plug for Anaquim. I mean, there's nothing like remote team members. They are fully capable, highly intelligent. They're not just for rote tasks,
No.
although any person can do rote tasks. So if you want it to be in Mexico, okay. If you want them to be doing complex accounting stuff, you can find some former accounting person at Pemex, the public whatever oil company in Mexico.
You absolutely can.
And have them do complex accounting stuff. So your CFO can be a remote team member, and they're fully integrated. You talk to them on Zoom, just like I'm talking to you right now. It's the simplest thing in the world. So when we started, it was me and Glorian, my work wife. I mean, she's in, I don't know, 7 years on, she's still as formidable a force as she ever was. And it was, I would go out, she had access to my email and my calendar, and I'd send her a text message and say, just left a great walkthrough. The address is in my calendar. The details are in Lead Simple, send a PMA out. And it would be done. I'd get it. I'd sign it. They'd get it. They'd sign it, whatever it was. It's like, it was just a seamless thing. And as we've grown, I work less with Glorian, but she's still my first love. And, I still send her stuff when I need personal help, like she might buy my wife flowers or send, get a gift or do whatever. But she's on the accounting side, and we have, I don't know, we have like 35 remote team members or something crazy like that. And they're incredibly, incredibly helpful, competent, amazing at what they do. So, that's the key to freedom is competent colleagues. Now, the challenge with competent colleagues is that they cost a ton of money. And so if you can arbitrage that, as Anaquim does, then you can maintain margin while having the freedom that you need to do the stuff. So my key was, it was always about delegate and elevate the EOS model. Like, just don't do the things that you're not good at. Don't do the things that you don't want to do, and focus on the things that are higher value add that you want to do. And other people can do other things that they find joy in, and, earn a living for their family as well. So that was my key. And very early on, I remember I had a conversation with my wife and our financial planner, the one that her family has used forever, who I subsequently let go because I wanted to hire essentially what amounted to who's now my COO, Robert Davis. And it was like, the conversation went something like, your revenue doesn't allow for you to hire somebody at that pay scale. And I was like, I don't care. You're not an entrepreneur. I'll take a pay cut. I'll take zero so that I can delegate half the work to somebody else that's very competent and help me grow this thing. And if you build it, they will come type of thing. Like, let me have the capacity back in my life so that I can focus on things that I'm good at, like sales and actually managing property. I don't manage any property, but I'm a very good property manager. So let me cascade those philosophies and thoughts down to a team, maybe through Robert, maybe through, by doing it myself, but I need the capacity to hire other people. And that was the best decision I ever made. And from there we grew and scaled and blew the thing up. But it wasn't, it wasn't for this wealth manager's advice. It was because I was willing to take a risk, and I believed in myself, and I believed in the business and the model and everything else. But you need capacity. The ultimate goal is to have the capacity in your team with competent people so that you can go out and do other stuff. And yesterday I was in Arkansas. I had two clients, good clients in Arkansas that want to buy in Tulsa, and they want to do walkthroughs of their properties in Arkansas as they do every year. They used to fly into XNA. Well, I said, come to Tulsa. We'll fly from Tulsa. We'll go into XNA. So I spent the day with them in Arkansas. We, left at 9:00. We're in Arkansas by 9:40, walked properties for 2.5 hours, had lunch, and then came back. It was great. And that's the kind of stuff that I want to be doing, not,
So you focus on what you want to do. You elevate others. I think you're also, from what I know about you, discerning. So like, if someone were a bad team member, I feel like you would be like, look, this isn't working out. Because I think that's where people get in a trap. They hire somebody, they fall in love with this person, but they stop being productive, and then they're not willing to make changes. So, I mean, is that you, or am I reading it wrong? Like,
look, I actually don't have any direct reports in the office, but I'm pretty good at sniffing out who's not doing a good job, because I poke around when I am in Appfolio and messing around with our systems. I'm just always kind of poking and questioning, so I can see when things are going wrong. And when there's a pattern, I begin to elevate that to the people that are responsible for sniffing out those patterns also, and for getting rid of those bad actors. I'll say we're super fortunate, and it's due to Chris Mencken on our team, who heads our people and asset. I guess his title is VP of People and Assets or something like that. And he's great on culture, and he's great on on promoting people to the right positions and making sure they have the tools and resources to do what they need. So we don't have a lot of turnover, but we do an involuntary turnover, I'd say is moderate, because we do let people go. And I find that when people know they're doing a bad job after they're on a PDP, a development plan or whatever it is, and you've had a bunch of one-on-ones with them and you're telling them how to correct, they know that they're not in the right position. Mm-hmm. They know that this job is too stressful for them, that when an owner yells at them or a tenant yells at them, they internalize it. It feels bad to them. Other people let it wash like water off a duck's back and say, you know what? The owner must be having a bad day, or the tenant must be having a bad day, or it would really suck to have 2 days of no AC in Oklahoma summer. I mean, I get it. I feel for them and I want to fix this and I'm working hard to fix it and I'm going to communicate until I do. People that are not good are not good. And so giving them the freedom to find their own path in the world is also liberating. It's liberating for you. It's liberating for them. They will go in and find something that is a much better fit. And, speaking to your embarrassment point earlier about running for mayor.
No, it was state legislature.
State legislature. Sorry. McKinsey fired me years ago, and they do it very gently. They call it counseling to leave. And they say, you've got a year and we'll pay you this real cush salary and we'll open up our network. And you have a great resume because you've been, a colleague of ours at the firm, at McKinsey, whatever 4 consulting firms in the world, but you got to find something else. You're probably not going to make it here. Mm-hmm. And that's it's a blow to the ego. It's really embarrassing. You don't want to tell your friends and you find something else and you move on, but it's great because you go find something that you're more passionate about. And I was a terrible employee, and I worked at another company after that, and I was a terrible employee, and they thought I was good, and I was probably better than average. But I needed to be a business owner.
Right.
I never did it like when I owned a business. It's just not the same thing. So ultimately I had to get fired, and then I had to meet Jody and move to Tulsa and start my own business to make it work and to find purpose in life. And so it's freeing for you to find your real passion, and you have to go through the pain of being fired oftentimes, or counseled to leave, as they call it at McKinsey, to find your real passion. The other thing that struck me when you said that thing about running for state legislature and being unsuccessful is, like, you're right that most strangers don't care. They don't remember, and their collective memory is very short. But the sooner we all learn, acknowledge that we're only the center of our own universe,
right,
the better off we'll all be. Like, our owners don't care about us and our policies and our changes. They just want rent collected. They want rent deposited in their accounts, and they want to not think about it, because the reason they came to us in the first place, in many instances, was having done it themselves and feeling an acute pain. Every time they looked at this property, they realized it's not as good an investment as I thought it was going to be. I overpaid. The tenant, punched me in the face last time I was there. I think about any number of possibilities, and it's painful for them. So when you call them, they're like, they relive that pain. It's for some people. For others, great. It's a passive investment, and I don't want to hear from you because I just do what you have to do and send me the check. But for some people, it's painful. So the less they hear from you, the better. So stop thinking you're the center of everybody's universe, and you'll be much happier. When you walk up to somebody that doesn't remember your name, just tell them your name.
Right.
You're not the center of their universe.
Absolutely.
So you'll be much happier when you stop being mad at the people that, don't remember it's your birthday. Who cares? They don't care. Right. So I've learned that too, and I've always been that way. I mean, I guess since middle school or something, when I was like, nobody else cares about anybody else but themselves. And if you learn that earlier, you'll be happier. But it's true. Like, to the point of failing, just fail fast.
Fail fast, recover. Failure is just information. Like, it was never meant to be a politician, because I will change my mind if you give me better information. I'll be like, oh, well, I didn't know that, and now I know, and now I changed my mind. And that's flip-flopping in politics, but it's a good skill in business.
Yeah.
So, so it was information that was the wrong route, and I needed to go a different route. And Anaquim wouldn't exist if I had won. So things work out the way, I don't know if I'm a way they're meant to be person, but it worked out in the way that it did, and I'm happy that it happened the way it did. So, so anyway, you've elevated people. You have the right team. Your financial advisor told you this is a poor choice because you're going to make less money by hiring these people. You said, I don't care. I'm going to run it the way I am now. If you were a new property manager just getting started, what kind of advice would you have for someone?
I'd say the same thing. Build a good team. You can't do everything yourself. You can wait a while and then you'll start seeing the balls drop. You can only juggle so many at a time, but you'll just be happier if other people are doing other parts of the business. So find a good VA, a good remote team member quickly right off the bat, and let that person be your immediate assistant in handling a ton of the stuff that you just can't do or is not the highest and best use of your time. That's what it'd be. And then keep growing and scaling from there and doing the exact same thing. So keep picking out the pieces of your day that you don't enjoy doing. Now, I mean, I should be clear that I'm pretty connected. Like I don't go on vacations where I just turn my phone off. But I also say to people in our team, if that's what you need to recharge, that makes your life sustainable, do it. If it doesn't F your happiness, don't do it. Keep plugged in and answer. Like I'd rather not come back to 1,000 emails or 500 emails or 30 emails. I'd rather just handle them one by one, and I can do it from the beach in Mexico. It does not destroy my day. Now, I have had to change processes because I realize it's disruptive to my life. So for example, when we do bank transfers from the rent trust to the security deposit and everything else, it used to come through a HubSpot task that pinged me. Of course, at 7:00 at night, I'm putting my kids to bed and I get a little ping, and I've got squirrel brain just like everybody else. And I go, it'll only take me 30 seconds to do this in the bank. And 4 minutes later, I'm still on my phone and my kids are running around, wondering why dad's disconnected. So I changed that and I don't have that anymore. So I'm susceptible to squirrel brain and I can be distracted easily. So I've had to put processes in place and train my team to not give me the inputs that will distract me. But, if I'm sitting on the beach and my kids are playing in the water and I'm just, I'm reading a book or I'm thumbing through The Economist on my phone anyways, like it doesn't bother me to answer an email. And if it can help somebody's day progress and they don't have to wait for 48 hours or 3 days to get an answer from me in order to move on to their next thing, then, it's great. And it doesn't make me feel like I'm less on vacation to answer an email. So I do it. But I can't say that I'm fully disconnected. I might just be working from out of the office. And to me, that's a wonderful way to be.
So with your 4 branches, how often are you in meetings at those branches?
I try to get there once a month to meet with the team. I go to lunch generally. I used to go to dinner, but now that's disrupted for the family. So I generally try to schedule lunch with the whole team. So I'm in most markets every month. And then the entire team comes to Tulsa for what we call the State of the State once a year, kind of an all-day overnight activity. So we'll go to a ball game. We'll do a bunch of fun stuff. We'll talk about how the company's doing. We'll talk about any changes that are happening and just a general chance for everybody that maybe hasn't met in person to meet in person and have a good time. So I would say I'm pretty good about being in every market once a month. And I'll go out for also, Wichita's a 3-hour drive. So if we have a whole bunch of people from the office that want to go from the Tulsa office, the leadership team that want to go to Wichita because there's a big client or there's an event, we're doing a broker open or something like that. Not a broker open, but like a presentation, I'll fly the team out because for me, it's super fun to fly. And for everybody else, it's a total savings of time. And we can do it, out. It's 40 minutes by plane and 3.5 hours or whatever by drive. So it's a good use of time for everybody to do it. And then I get to connect with the team, connect with clients, stay involved. So if it works, I'm always kind of down to go for a jaunt.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for the tip, because I think people just need to make a decision about how much they're going to grow their business. They've got to delegate and elevate, and then decide what they want their life to look like so that they can have all the adventures all the travel that you have while maintaining a family, commitments.
If you have kids, do you want your kids to see you, do you want them to remember their childhood age as years as like mommy or daddy playing with them in the pool at home when they got home from school? Or do you want it to be, mommy and daddy were always working. They were always gone. They were always on their, laptops. It was late at night and I woke up and had a bad dream and, daddy was still there working at 11 o'clock at night. Like, I don't know. I never thought that was a palatable way for my kids to see me. So I'd rather spend time with them, and you've got to build a team to make that happen. There's no other way.
Love it. Well, thanks, Matt. Really appreciate having you on the show.
Thanks, Gwen.
All right.
Good to be here.
The first step to being an effective leader is knowing where you and your team stand. Take our leadership matrix assessment to see how you and your team members score. It's free, and the link is in the show notes.